And we didn't want to have to get into the whole, like, applying for a permit. And so we found out that if you do it just 10 by 10, you can go as high as you want. So that was really the idea of this footprint. Hi, my name is Sheree, and welcome to the Red Tower Tiny House. I'm looking forward to showing you around.
This video is sponsored by Drink Element, a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't.
I use Element, and so do many US Olympians, NFL, NBA, and NHL athletes, and many everyday people who are looking to optimize their health. And Element is offering you a free sample pack. All you have to do is pay for shipping, and you can try it out and see how it feels. And if you don't like it, then you can just give the rest of it away to your friends, and they'll give you your money back, no questions asked. So it's totally risk-free. So go to drinklmnt.com/FLORB and get your free sample pack today.
And remember to subscribe.
My partner and I were living in Toronto, and we actually had a landscape design company. We were looking to buy a property in the country, and our vision was to take a property that sort of needed healing. Like, we bought this sort of derelict piece of land that had been destroyed by farming for many years, and we wanted to naturalize it, just using the skills that we had. And then this came about just because, looking at the land, this was more like to sort of build a sculpture on the land. Like, in the old days, they call it a folly, where you built this sort of cool building somewhere. It was really like a sculpture. Plus, my partner wanted to have just a little kind of writing art space, and we didn't want to have to get into the whole, like, applying for a permit. And so we found out that if you do it just 10 by 10, you can go as high as you want. So that was really the idea of this footprint. My partner Clive built it. We had our landscape company in Toronto, so just one of the guys that worked for us came up and helped him, one of the carpenters. I know he just did this simple, like, little quick CAD sketch, and they just built it. I was involved in the design and the placement, etc. And originally, it was just, it had the loft, but it didn't have this set of stairs or anything. And so I've since put in this staircase, so that was a bit of a challenge, just because every square inch is pretty spoken for. I think if he had originally designed it for people to live in, he would have figured all that out. But sort of to do it afterwards is a bit more challenging. I think it was about 15,000. But don't forget, that was 15 years ago. And then, you know, I've done like several add-ons, like the deck, like all the outbuilding stuff added on. But I think, yeah, that's how much it was. The design of this place was designed, you know, based off the golden section in terms of proportion of the height of the building and the placement of the windows. Well, this structure was inspired by container homes, which were just kind of getting popular, I think, when we built this about 15 years ago. We looked into it, but we weren't going to be able to ship one up on our road, so we decided to build this. People think it's a container home, but it's not. Before we go in, I want to show you the outside. There's an outdoor sink with hot and cold water. I do have a well at my house, so I've got the water pumped up here, and I have a little portable outdoor propane water heater. It just runs off a barbecue tank, and usually one of those lasts, you know, a good 3 months, so it's pretty efficient. Recently, I've added on a screen room just so that people can sit outside and not be bugged by bugs, and also get some shade. And then there's also an outdoor shower with hot and cold water. And then a nice, I like to call it a cooling pool. I just have a pump to keep the water circulating, throw in a little chlorine puck, but it's pretty low maintenance, and it's really great on a hot day to just sort of cool off for a few minutes. This is the outhouse. I wanted it to tie in with the red tower, but also I just used some recycled materials. That's why it's not red, it's brown. Also, you don't want the outhouse to stand out the same way as you want the red tower. This glass door with just a recycled piece. I realized people want a bit of privacy, so I put that on it. So that's about it for the outside. Let me show you the inside. We were just really into cedar, because in our landscape business, we use cedar for everything. And it's just warm, and yeah, I think the idea is to just make it a really warm, sort of the idea of a rustic but modern space. Like, people are like, oh, well, I'm gonna go modern, or I'm gonna go, like, it's like, no, be eclectic and combine different styles and stuff. So I think that combination of like like sort of, you'd call this modern architecture because it's very simple, but then having like rustic features, you know, and some old things like that light I found at a secondhand store. And I think the more eclectic you are, the more it's going to feel, it's just going to feel like a home. There is power running up to the house. There's just one baseboard heater here, but totally heats the space. There's basic cooking, fridge, toaster oven, cabinets I had built here on site, and just trying to sort of, again, play with design, so take it off the design of the windows, because I think it's really important aesthetically in a small space to make sure everything works together. So repeating patterns is just a good way to do that. The windows were we just found them. I can't remember, you know, somebody was throwing them out. In the winter, this becomes a very open hillside, so having views down into the valley is really nice. I was originally going to get blinds for the whole place, but I didn't like the idea of covering the windows because it's part of the sculpture. I just found someone, you know, in the town nearby that does blinds, and she was able to custom order them. Yeah, I think with, you know, a lot of modern architecture, you can get stuff at any size now. And when, you know, you're doing a vertical design, like using the height, so having, this was actually a painting that my late partner did. So working with the vertical space is really nice in terms of using art or whatever you're going to look up and see as well. And this was just going to be sort of like a little bunkie, so we had a ladder going up, but obviously that was not safe. So I did have to retrofit this, which was kind of a challenge. The best thing is make sure you think it out beforehand and design everything into the space, because trying to retrofit stuff is really challenging in a tiny house. This is where you get the 360 view of the whole area. It's a great sleeping loft. That way you can wake up and just take in the vista. It's mostly just the bed, so very tight space. I could build it right out, but it is nice to have that shaft of light at the bottom, so it's always that compromise. Part of the challenge of a small space is definitely making sure that everything is designed to fit in, because there really is no room for anything extra. So my next step is going to be to design a built-in kind of little couch area here with maybe some storage underneath, but I haven't figured it out yet. There's this quote from Solzhenitsyn, "Beauty shall save the world," and I like that. I spent a lot of time in Europe, and and I studied Japanese design and etc. And like where you see these cultures where aesthetics are just built in. And now these beautiful places in Europe are almost like museums that people flock to just to see beauty, right? So I mean, I feel it's my duty just to do what I can, the little bit I can. Like the materials don't even have to be more expensive. It's just understanding like proportion. Like even if you understand how to put windows in correct proportion, it's gonna look way better. You gotta have a bit of training to know, and if you don't have that training, you should ask someone to help you. Don't design something ugly.
So let me tell you about how you're probably dehydrated. You and I were made out of 60% water, and that water needs electrolytes in order to function properly. And if you don't have enough electrolytes, then you can be experiencing things like headaches, tiredness, weakness, cramping, and hunger.
I use Element, and so do many US Olympians, NFL, NBA, and NHL athletes, and many everyday people who are looking to optimize their health. And Element is offering you a free sample pack. All you have to do is pay for shipping, and you can try it out and see how it feels. And if you don't like it, then you can just give the rest of it away to your friends, and they'll give you your money back, no questions asked. So it's totally risk-free. So go to drinklmnt.com/FLORB and get your free sample pack today. Thank you for watching. Have a great week, and remember to stay salty.